Huh? Let's see.
Powered by Riverside.
No.
Welcome to the next episode of the World's Beautiful Game Podcast, episode 3 for season 3, as we're calling it. And it's probably our best episode yet because the season is underway for the Premier League. Will, how are you feeling? How excited are you? 1 week down already. What you thinking, man?
Well, depressed and excited because yes, an exciting start, but obviously our team loves to disappoint us. So it's kind of like that father that went for milk and never coming back. You just know they're gonna always disappoint.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, as United fans, that was the one game for us to watch. Of course, we do try to watch as much as we can, but we do try to root for our team, and unfortunately, our team wasn't up for it like Hull was. But we'll get into that as we kind of go through some of the bigger games or some of the bigger matchups or highlights from the matchups that really caught our attention the most. But we do have a bit of an agenda today. We're going to go through obviously the first set of matches for the Premier League, and then from Friday to Monday. Then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about just fantasy league that we got going on because we do got money on that, so that's always a big one to talk about. We always talk about our Americans abroad, so we'll go into that a little bit also. And remind me again, I know we had one more on the docket there. What's the last thing that we have on there? Um,
So fantasy, the Americans abroad, pretty much the other things,
and then
and
just anything happening around the world of football, because
oh
it's not just
yes,
the Premier League that started. Obviously, there's
the
Champions League
Champions
already on
League.
the way, Europa League's
That
on the way. So
that
whatever we
was
can
the one
squeeze
matchup.
in, we'll
Well,
try we'll try to keep it brief. But we definitely want to
pertains
make
to
sure we
our
talk to
the Champions
yes,
League
the
that
Americans.
pertains to our Americans. Yep.
So to start the week, we had a game on Friday, which was the first game to kick us off. Arsenal, obviously, playing against Coventry, which I think went as expected. Coventry, a team down their biggest goal scorer last season, American Haji Wright, was out. They did pick up a striker for this season, but Arsenal, as you know, as they are the team that it was stout defensively last year. Yes, they don't have Saliba, obviously, but we are looking at a team that also picked up a defender, big defender
Mm-hmm.
from Barcelona, who we'll see how that turns out. I know he came in uh, at some point in the game, but he didn't
Who?
start. Araujo?
What did you say,
Oh, I'm
Saliba?
thinking Liverpool.
Yeah, you
Excuse
threw me
me.
off. That's why
Well,
Kansa that
Saliba
showed up.
Konsa came in from Villa. Excuse me.
Yes, yes.
Ooh, sorry. I just had a game
I was
today.
like,
Apologies. Just got back. Still
threw me
sweaty
off. I
from
was
from
like,
the
huh.
game. But yes, no. But I'm another team that also changed their back line. But yes, Konsa coming in from Aston Villa. A big pickup for them. I think a big opportunity for him to play on obviously a Champions League side who won the Premier League last year. So interesting to see where he'll fit in all this once Saliba
Mm-hmm.
gets back. But it's a big pickup for them, of
Well, even
course.
before he gets back, see where they'll fit in and kind of how they slot because they still have a lot of defenders, including the players that played this weekend. So that's
Yeah,
yeah. That I mean, but
he's
that game, yeah.
he's a guy who's going to be able to play kind of multiple positions for them as they're playing obviously in four competitions and they're hoping to get to that Champions League final once again. So a big piece for them to add, of course. What do you make of it for him? Because this is yes a big opportunity for him as a player coming from another team that did pretty well last season, but obviously coming to the champions right of the Prem. Like it's a big signing for Arsenal for sure for depth to continue making sure that they're ready for a long haul, but also for him, great opportunity to showcase himself.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how they kind of slot him in or put him in because yeah, with Gabriel and Mosquera, who also had a solid first game, then you still got Ben White and Calafiori that played. So you already have four solid guys, and like you said, Saliba's still out, so that still adds another one. Um, and then Incapie also is another player that's there. So that's another quality starter who's also young. Um, that's it's going to be an interesting way to see how concept fits in, how they're going to play everybody, or how they're going to keep egos in check and kind of see how they are okay with limiting big time minutes. Like it's crazy because honestly, I know they want to have enough rotation for Champions League, but it just seems like they already have plenty to rotate in. So, um, yeah, that's it's interesting. I mean, again, I think he helps any back line, even this team. Just where, how, um, we will see. I am curious to see once he's ready to go, what's going to happen with them. But yeah, I mean, they look sharp. They look like they picked up where they left off last season, and they look good so far. So as you know, we said in the beginning, it's going to be hard to see who's gonna bump them out of top spot, and they look every bit of it so far. So
Big surprise coming out of this game. Also, obviously, you don't want to talk too much about Consa, but Cholis or Solis, however you pronounce his name,
uh,
he
yeah.
was everywhere, all over the place, contributing shots on goal, assists, and just the most dangerous guy on the field for Arsenal.
Hmm.
Obviously, he contributed to Saka getting a goal. Odegaard gets one. Havertz, the three guys. I don't know if you saw this or not, but the first time since December that all three Saka, Havertz, and Odegaard played together. So that's a crazy stat. The three best players on their team didn't even get an opportunity to start together for a good amount of
Yeah.
that season. Basically, the second half of that season. Odegaard has a lot to prove this season, I would say, because he's their captain and the guy that played for Real Madrid as a kid came here with big expectations. I don't know that he lived up to it last season. I know he had injury issues last year, maybe last year and a half. But what do you make of him and what he needs to do for that team to get even better than what they were?
Just stay healthy. I mean, I think he is living up to expectations when he is healthy and when he gets rolling. But naturally, um, at this level, you need to be you need to be consistent. Obviously, injuries they're avoid. Well, it's hard to say. Obviously, they're not avoidable. I guess if you're injury prone, you're injury prone, and I feel like he is a bit injury prone. But if he can get going and get his consistent games in without getting big injuries and just picking up minor ones where he's barely off, I think he's living up to expectations. Maybe not the original expectations of what they expected from him at Real Madrid to be like the next Bellingham, right? Because what Bellingham everybody's expecting, I think that's what they expected him to be. But after not kind of being able to do that and then coming there, I think that's kind of where they're looking with him. But he is definitely a very important player, and he did get a man of the match in that one. So um, it
Yeah, I
looks like he's
mean,
starting off the right foot.
yeah, I think also important note, and we'll probably leave it off on here. Obviously, Arsenal picked up Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle, who
And
just wholesaled their whole team out. Um,
and
who am I missing? Sorry, I got fog right now after the after.
goalkeeper.
Oh yes, I mean, well, this just happened today, so
Yeah,
um, uh, what you call it?
it's important. It's big.
I
Yeah,
know. Tell me
I mean
again. Sorry,
Martinez. Yeah.
but he went to Chelsea, didn't he?
Oh shoot, Jesus Christ. Yep, you're
Yeah,
right. Never
no.
mind.
That's what I
See,
was like.
now
Wait,
you're throwing me off. It's
I'm
throwing me
sorry,
off,
dude.
right? No, that's it.
Yeah, no.
No, but yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
you're right. Jesus.
we'll get to that team
We'll
also.
get to
But
them. But no,
um,
yeah, I mean they picked up like you said, and well, it's interesting because Rice got subbed out for Zubimendi. Um,
yeah, that's a big one too because we were talking
so
about this last week.
Rice never rests pretty much. Rice, is pretty usually plays. So that's either, hey, we're pretty much trying to get our price for him for Madrid to come in and kind of give him his last licks to kind of make himself to sell at a higher price, or they're pretty much telling Zubi, hey, we want you to stay. It's kind of like, hey, to take out Declan Rice. I know they're obviously winning, but still, he still always plays. So
Yeah, that surprises me because if anyone you would think, but again, I think this does come a lot down to Bruno getting injured because I think that's probably who they expect to kind of bring in and out. But how much do you think?
well, because they still got Eze and Merino in there too, so that's just crazy. It's like when you look at the players, you got Wanry, I forget how you say his name, Wanry, the kid, Ethan and
Wanyeri,
Wanry,
One
One
year.
year, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, him. So he still plays. I mean, he didn't get in, and then Goikarez up top. Just I'm not saying obviously he's up
And
top, but
their
but
Wonder Boy didn't play either, Max Dowman, who
yeah,
uh,
Domino's exactly. He's still on the bench. He was on the bench for that game, so he didn't play. So again, that just has they have so much players, and I know that they're trying to think for the long haul. But there's certain players here that are like, hey, this was already last season was my make or break to kind of get me in for more time. If I'm not going here, I think he'd rather probably be on the bench for Madrid than for Arsenal.
that's fair. I
You
mean,
know,
I can't see him not doing that. Which fingers crossed for United. Kind of hoping that goes down because that may
Camavinga
give us actually
available.
a player from Rao that maybe want to
Hmm.
come this way to United. So that would be, and that's what they call a great segue because now we're going to go into United and Hull. Who kudos to Hull 2-0 game. They win it at home in their home opener. They looked like they were up for this one, man. Like as I was watching this, like it's just getting that like Amarim start to last season. It feels like the same thing all over again, and I don't understand it to be honest with you. I don't know what your thoughts on this are, but I think the only thing that I would say is I don't want to overreact because it's one game, but and several pieces going in for the first time to play together. So I think there's a lot there, but we really need to solidify our back line. Like we're still missing so much back there.
It was just frustrating. To see it seems like they were just kind of again like they weren't ready to start off the season. Obviously Hull's excited, they're playing at home, they're in the Premier League again, and obviously they're playing Giants even if it's in name. And well,
Packed
last
out
season,
stadium,
yeah, and obviously United ended the season well last season, so they're playing a top team from the Premier League from last season. So yeah, they were ready for everything, but it just seemed like Cunha, Dorgu, um, Tillmans, I don't think he should have started. I feel like Kobe Mino should have started that
I just
game.
think he's still not 100% healthy. I think that's
But
why he's
I
not
don't think
starting.
Tillman should have started that game at all. Santos, it seems like he's still getting his legs in. Bruno was the only one that had a decent game. Maguire, obviously,
Man, but the talk after the game was like Bruno was the worst thing that ever happened to life, which is
yet
crazy.
somehow he had the highest rating on the team. So that makes a lot of sense. Mazraoui was kind of just in shock. They all, I mean, all of them, literally the whole team. Cunha just it didn't seem like, and then even when the guys came in, Rashford didn't inject anything, didn't really do anything. Sheshko, same thing. Dalot, like anything we could really talk
Yeah,
about it,
there was
but
just
it's more like I feel like it took away a lot from what Hull did because Hull didn't play scared. So it's more kudos and respect
no,
to
that
Hull.
dude Ollie McBurney, man, that dude looked like
Yeah.
prime Ronaldo half the game, just like taking
Mm-hmm.
people on,
Yeah.
making things happen on the back post. Like he just was winning headers in the box. Like
Yeah.
he
If
dude was,
If Hull plays that way throughout the whole season, it'll be a pleasant surprise for them to be in the top 10 easily.
which is nice for them
Uh,
because
yeah.
everyone wrote him off bad. Like
Uh-huh.
we didn't make I didn't make bottom four predictions because you never know with some of these teams when they
Mm-hmm.
come up. Like some, yeah, you kind of see it, but like you gotta wait till they start playing because
Yeah.
look what teams like Brentford have done, Sheffield, like all these teams have come in and like even when they go down, they just battle, man. And that this team came not scared of anything,
It's
which is
interesting. I mean, and
crazy.
both the goal scorers did come off injured, and hopefully it's light injuries and nothing bad to them, so that way they can keep going.
One was a
Yeah,
defender, center back,
there's
right?
both
Ajay,
Mendy
both were
and
center back.
Ajay. Yep.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Is remember set pieces. So once again,
yeah.
we keep showing that we're weak on the set piece. Um, but again, like you said, don't want to look too much into it. Naturally, everybody's going to talk about United losing because everybody has eyes on United. Even if you hate them and you love them, you always want to see United what United does because they just love to.
And of
Be,
course, we can't go without talking about Maguire holding his own player in the box,
yeah,
which is the meme of the week already. So he
yeah.
didn't take long to give us something to talk about early on. Obviously, we don't want to talk too much about it because it's our own team, but man, he really like divides the opinions. Like he can play so good sometimes. Sometimes he just does some of the dumbest shit, and it makes no sense, man.
Again, exactly. It's unfortunate. Um, it is what it is. He's got thick skin, which is good, and that'll just kind of help. Yeah, just help them kind of go. And
Yeah, I mean it's a bad game. That's all it is. It's a
yeah,
bad game, bad start to the season.
I'm not.
And Carrick's telling us not to get carried away, and
I wouldn't.
I'll
Yeah,
kind of believe that too. I think last year, if we remember, United had the most shots on goal, the most shots I think on target, scored a boatload of goals. It's not going to be
yeah.
quiet for
I'd
long.
say
So,
I'd say we're missing. We maybe miss players like center backs that we had like Lindelof, but I mean what he
but
did,
no, but no, we're going to that game and see how much we miss that kind of player. So
man.
obviously, next up, Aston Villa, which is going through a lot of shit also because forget the score line here. Obviously, 4-0 Brighton just lit them up. And it was in like the first 30 minutes. So
Well,
Wild just,
Lindelof with the first own goal in 8 minutes. So
yeah, to be fair, like that was a tough one because
that
like
is
that ball was shot so hard.
it
Like
is,
he
but it
just
just
put his
set the
foot.
tone. Yeah, set
It
the
did
tone
set
for
the
the
it
game.
did set the
So
tone. But United Emery obviously without Ollie Watkins because Ollie Watkins now officially to Al Hilal. He was just waiting that and he just
yeah, that was
refusing to
surprising.
play. Yeah, why that guy would want to leave for that league instead of trying to show his worth
I
because
thought he had a chance for United because I
I
figured
did I did
Xerxes
at
has
this
pretty
point
much
I think
been told.
any of those guys, any of those strikers, Mateta who's linked now because Ali Watkins is gone,
Mhm.
all those guys had a great opportunity to be a good like side piece or side piece, side by side with Sesko or fight battle it out to get games. There's a lot of games to play.
Mhm.
Crazy that that's where he's going. I don't
Yeah,
understand
I
that.
mean, hey, the money, I guess.
I will say that this game was interesting because Villa started off when Dia always looks good when he plays. He had several chances for Villa before the first goal. He always seems to turn on teams and score some bangers, but he just couldn't put it in the back of the net. As you mentioned, Lindelof, unfortunately, the making that error for the first goal, but then all of a sudden, the Kuiper out of nowhere for Brighton just coming in and just making great runs from the back and just easy tap ins. 30 minutes, and then Hinshelwood was the other one that scored from a ball from Gomez on a he gets a header into the goal, but again it was a defensive error from Aston Villa who got pickpocketed, who might have benefited from that Arteta story where he had a magician come in and steal people from things from his players' pockets. Maybe they needed that training too.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like Brighton just really came out and just tore up Aston Villa. There's no other way. They look like Tottenham from last season is what that seemed like, and which is wild to say because Aston Villa, you know, Champions League this year. Uh, you,
I mean, I had them in my top four.
we made predictions, yes, at the top of our, or no, at the end of our last show, and I had them second, I think, in my top four also. So again, we can't read into it too much. There's a lot happening with Villa team that players are leaving. Morgan Rogers left to Chelsea. Obviously, Ollie Watkins didn't play this game.
I mean,
Um,
first half they did go down to 10 men as well because 40 minutes in, João Gomes got a red card.
yeah,
So obviously that didn't help any already. I mean, they were already down, like you said. They scored what?
30 minutes. 30 minutes
Yeah, 30 minutes. So in the
total. Yeah,
40th minute, obviously 40th minute.
getting the red card. Yeah.
Yeah, so that didn't help any. But uh, at that point, I mean, as of right now, Brighton are in first in the league on goals.
Yeah, no,
So
hell of a show for them and two players that gave. We'll talk about fantasy later, but anyone that had them on the bench or with the bench boost or just in their starting lineup, anyone who captained the dude, insane points.
yeah.
So that's interesting. But as I mentioned, Tottenham from last season, that'll be the next game we talk to as well. And another game that maybe caught us all by surprise, since I have Tottenham in my top four as well. A lot of signings, new players coming into Tottenham. You thought
Uh-huh.
with that coach, they would be able to put up a fight against Brentford, but no, Brentford came in and they did what Brighton did to Aston Villa. Surprising, they ripped apart Tottenham. I mean, they made them look like they were last season's team, and a little bit weird because again, in the 12th minute, give and go, easy, put it in the back of the net. In Tottenham early on, any team, I think United included, you give up a goal that early, you're already in the back foot, right? So what do you think? Is it the same thing? Like you can't
No,
overreact first game, like. it's
To be honest, I don't even think it's first game. I don't know how this season's gonna go because they have a lot of new players, and I believe they have 5 starters out that are injured. So
and
that's
Madison just got injured again too.
exactly. So I mean, I think that's a big difference. New team, pretty much. They have a whole new squad. Again, a lot of injured players. The
Even
chemistry they need to build up.
their
And
goalkeeper
Brentford,
too.
yeah, Brentford already are coming in from last season already. Brentford did okay, and then
Yeah,
Igor Thiago.
they were fighting
Thiago
for
scored
Champions
again.
League. Yeah,
Yeah, Thiago scored again. I mean, he didn't get a fair chance in the World Cup because he had one bad game, and then pretty much Ancelotti's like, "Up, you're never playing again. It's gonna be Endrick every single time," which made no sense. Well, then why João Pedro didn't go? But anyways, but yeah, he scored. Yeah, they just look. Brentford look fresh. They look still kind of just off of last season. Obviously, their chemistry is good to go. I think Tottenham. I don't know if in the next game they'll be able to turn around because, like I said, I think they still need a lot of chemistry and for their starters to kind of come back and kind of inject themselves into that lineup.
I mean,
Even
and they picked
Kin,
up. I
who's the
will
goalie?
say,
Kinski. He's a
yeah,
young kid too.
they sold Vicario, so they have a new
Yeah, so
keeper
they
that
got
came
he's
in
23
also.
year old, so he's a
Yeah,
young kid. He's got a lot to learn and experience to kind of get that back line. So yeah, it's interesting. Again, not that you don't want to read into it too much, but it does show, hey, they didn't flow that quickly as of right now. So it might be a couple weeks before they can get in, and then obviously in the Premier League, if you fall too far behind, even if you have a good season, it just might be too little, too late. But
I think
we'll
that's
see.
the only thing someone said to me when we were talking about the games this week or last week is just like it's a league where you really can't take the chance of dropping points even this early because you have to beat the idea is you should beat the teams that you should expect to beat. And when you drop those points at the end of the season is where it comes back and haunts you and you're like, we really should have done better that game. Right. So um again, a lot of changes there, a lot of things happening for Tottenham. You think I'm assuming they'll turn it around. But just like them, another team making a lot of changes coming into the new season. Chelsea Fulham, the game on Monday. That was a pretty exciting game to watch. Also, we were curious how Morgan Rogers would play. Obviously, a new player coming from Villa over to Chelsea. Carson Palmer, Cole Palmer, who's back, who was kind of injured towards the end of last season, did almost nothing. He didn't look himself, so you wonder how much it was injury related also that he didn't play as well. He didn't make the England squad, of course. But him getting an assist to Morgan Rogers' first goal, who scores the first goal of the season, of course, for Chelsea. So the $100 million man coming in and making a move there for Xavi Alonso, who I'm assuming is going to do things like he did at Bayer Leverkusen. I don't know how you see it, but it was a close game in the end, but they kind of took this one pretty easily. I would say.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the score doesn't show. I believe they dominated a little more. Fulham still did a good job, but yeah, I think Chelsea are looking off to a good start. Interesting. I believe Reece James is playing like CDM versus kind of more on the outside because Gusto was on the right and then Hato was on the left. So that a little bit of a change, but
It felt like kind of like a fluid like defense, right? Almost
yeah.
like they would shift into like a 4 or 3 depending on where he wanted to
hmm
see them playing. Yeah.
Enzo coming in off the bench is interesting. Not starting.
A lot of noise there because
Yeah,
City is inquiring and they're looking to buy him.
yeah.
So
I don't know if Enzo stays in England. If he's gonna stay in. I don't know if he'd stay in England because
I just
obviously
don't see where he goes, honestly.
they hate him. They hate him obviously because he's Argentinian, and Argentinians did a great job of making sure that the world hates them. Footballing aspect. Um, but yeah, we'll see what happens because him coming off the bench is he is a starter quality. Other than personally or how what type of person he is or how he does, but
I
with if
mean
this team was good,
the
Lavia,
bench.
that kid, I mean, Lavia's
I think the bench thing was just more of these players coming back from the World Cup. I think that's what you're seeing with some of these first
maybe,
games, just
yeah,
giving
because I
them.
don't. Obviously he
The,
starts over Lavia,
Yeah, because
The
even
kid had a good
Bruno
game.
Bruno only played the Milan game and then this game before he played. So a lot of these players are still getting their legs under them. I
Yeah.
don't know that they're 100% there. They need a couple of weeks. So that's probably why Enzo doesn't
Yeah.
start. I think it's less to do with all the noise and more to do just that he went deep in the World Cup.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
And now we can talk to your signing
I,
for Chelsea that you
yeah.
wanted me to bring up.
Well, just one other game because they did play what cup was it? Is it the Carabao Cup or
Yeah, Carabao
FA
Cup
Cup?
is no Carabao Cup is what they've been
They
playing.
played Luton Town and he didn't start in that game either. So that's just why.
I think Xavi, if anything, he would save them from that game because it's one of those games where they kind of play some of the
Hey,
players, not all of
Welbeck
them.
scored.
The young guys get the young guys get an opportunity,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I mentioned, big news, like you mentioned
Yep.
early in
Emi
the
Martinez.
episode.
Yeah, that's
The,
interesting because I mean Sanchez.
there's no
He's
confidence in Sanchez. That's what
yeah.
I'll tell you.
He's 28 years old, so it's not like he's a kid. So I mean, him getting benched this season, which I can see. Obviously, if you're signing him and you're not benching him, so he's starting right away. So now Sanchez goes to the bench. So now what with him? I mean, with that news coming now, does Sanchez ask for a transfer last minute? We got a couple of days left to see if he leaves. To him, is it a slap in the face? Does he
Well,
go back to Spain?
I mean, the goal he
Um,
gave up was terrible.
sure, I
He
know,
should have
but
saved it.
um,
The
that's literally
second one, I can't blame him as much, but like, like
funny enough, yeah. I mean, you open up and you click on his name, and it says highlights. Committed an error that led to a goal. That's his
I
highlight.
mean, it's his
So,
on his first post ball
mhm,
wasn't shot anything crazy. I think it looks savable watching it now.
yeah.
I just don't see
I mean, them picking up
how.
Emmy, I think, is a big, big.
I
Is
wonder how
is
much the noise affected him from the transfer rumors, or he's just maybe just not good enough. I mean, it's weird, right? Because it's
I mean,
Barcelona played with
yeah.
Victor Valdez for a long time, and you wouldn't know. But
I
does
mean,
that mean
Emmy, like I said,
does that
Emmy.
mean Chelsea's defense also needs to get better, not just the fact that Sanchez is struggling?
I mean, it seems like the Lacroix and Achmepong had solid ratings. Just Caldwell was okay. He didn't have a great game. So at that point, I don't know because most of the defensive midfielders and defenders had a pretty solid game. So I don't know if and at that point, obviously, if your defense can't gain confidence because you're nervous that the keeper is going to make a mistake when you have a keeper in the back, I think Emmy obviously brings that. World Cup winner, has played great for Villa, has been consistent for years now. He's older, but he has plenty of experience, and he shows that he can still play great. So I think they're really pushing, obviously, to change it around from last season. They have no Champions League this year, so they definitely um, push for the league and the FA Cup, I would say, even the Carabao Cup. So pretty much any trophy you can get your hands on because they're not playing any European league. So at this point, obviously, just focus on making top three easily uh, and winning
I
the other
mean,
cups.
they're in the same boat, and the reason why I picked Tottenham to be in the top of the league because they have a United schedule this year. They're playing once every week, like maybe twice a week when
Hmm.
these early cups, the FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Chelsea's on the same road, right? Young team, great attacking players, new coach coming in that I think is gonna figure out how to use a young team because that's what he did at Leverkusen.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think Xabi Alonso is a great coach. I just think he being thrown into a situation at Real Madrid is going to be very hard because I think only coaches like Mourinho that have the experience and that know how to handle players that have egos can. So I don't think it was a right fit for him at Madrid because they didn't respect him enough. I guess because of coaching credentials, and he hasn't done it long enough. Just because Arbeloa is the same thing over there, so I think it wasn't fair to kind of give to base him off of that, but his Leverkusen, which you could see, obviously, this first performance, he's won that one and he beat Luton Town. So, yeah, I think they'll be okay. And I think they'll definitely push for, at this point, seeing how with things going on, I think they can easily push for a top four. Was it five up to six
it just
Prem leagues?
depends. It
Depends, right?
depends.
So,
Yeah.
but obviously, yeah, they'll push for a top three, top four spot. So, yeah.
A couple other notable matchups. we can talk about City barely squeezing out a win with Holland's haircut
Ooh,
against Bournemouth. I will say Tyler Adams got caught on that one. I know he came in as a sub, but he lost the mark, and Shirky scored that goal, the second goal to get the win. But interesting. I thought, I didn't captain Holland for my fantasy team because I don't even have Holland on my fantasy team because I didn't think coming back from the World Cup he was going to be kind of ready.
I thought he
And
was.
I think I was okay there.
Yeah.
But nothing too crazy with City.
Liverpool and
Liverpool,
Newcastle is crazy because
that one was.
Newcastle's a sinking ship, and then Liverpool's still tied. So that's
Yeah, which is crazy because I know last week in the episode we talked about how we thought that they were going to be better this season. What's his name, Isaac being healthy to start the season, having but Elanga just took all of the Liverpool defenders out. I will tell
Mhm.
you, I know I'm not a professional in any way, shape, or form, but watching Van Dijk backpedal and not go to Alanga and just take him out on that play. Like I know he wasn't that close, but you can see he's gonna take. Was it Willick? I forget who's on that side defending him. Oh no, Lewis Hall, who United's tied to. He took
Mm.
Lewis Hall and just took him out. Like he stood no chance. But all I saw, if in the play, and not just that one, but the one with Wisa, dude, he's like backpedaling, and I know that's what he does because he's like a smart player. But he's just giving them time and space to create chances to score goals. And that's literally what happened here. That's why Newcastle went up 2-0. Um, no, excuse me. They were up one. Gakpo scored from outside the box, which is interesting because Gakpo is rumored to be leaving because of all the things happening there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, then like I said, Wisa goes down the middle, just five guys around him for Liverpool, and then he just passes it off to get a goal for Joe Willock, who's also apparently on the way out. And then softest pen in the world, probably maybe not that soft, but it was a mistake. But then they get bailed out, getting a pen in the 95th minute of that game.
Which looks like Sabasala is going to be the new pen taker. Salah. Salah was their
I
go-to
mean,
guy for penalties.
he
So,
put that shit in the roof. Nobody was
uh,
saving that shot.
exactly. So yeah, that's probably cements him. But that was an interesting one. Um,
Yeah,
so
it's an interesting one because in especially with our predictions, like and how we
I
talked about
mean,
some of
at
these
least
teams.
Newcastle, yeah, which I think Newcastle maybe showed, hey, just because, yeah, whatever we're doing, we're not actually a
I,
sinking ship.
wait,
So
what does it say? What does it say more though? That Newcastle made the right moves to get rid of a lot of these players, or is it just that Liverpool continues that bad path from last season with their new
both,
coach?
I think both. Yeah.
There's not one
Um,
answer. It's
well,
both.
I wouldn't say Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool have to find an identity because even though Salah was, he wasn't Salah last year, it's still a big player to lose, and now you have to pretty much reshape a team again around who, you know what I mean? So that'll be interesting. We'll see what happens again. First, still early on, first game of the season. Yeah, other than that, like I
I will
said,
go through the other ones real quick. Leeds continuing the momentum from last season, going beating Nottingham Forest 1-0. Ipswich, Ed Sheeran's team, surprising Sunderland. Sunderland was really pretty good last year, beating
mhm.
them 2-1 in their home opener. So that was interesting. And then Everton coming out strong to start the season. Crystal
Against Palace.
Palace. I think Crystal Palace might be in the relegation battle this season because they lost a couple players. They lost their coach, which kind of sucks because obviously the American Gozo went there to play with Chris Richards. I hope that's not the
Yep.
case with this team because I felt like they did enough, and it's not like they got depleted, but I guess you lose enough in a team like that, then you really, especially because they're going to be battling on multiple fronts also. So can they manage the schedule this year? Losing their coach, it looks like their coach that came in is not too bad, but still, like it's going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah. Oh, one quick shout out. I totally forgot while we were talking about Newcastle. Shout out to Wisa because obviously that player I feel he's very severely underrated, and I think he's a really good player. And then him being at Newcastle, he did get an assist, but I think that he's a quality player that doesn't get enough credit because when you see him play, even in the World Cup, He's a solid dude, and anytime he plays against United, it's always be on the lookout for him. So we'll see how he does this season with Newcastle. We'll see how that goes.
I won't say it's much saying it against United because everybody's good against United,
Oh yeah, but you know,
but no, he is a solid player. I thought that was a player that United should really consider signing when he was at Newcastle. It made sense for them to grab up a guy that wasn't going to be that expensive,
yeah,
and
United
strong
just
dude up top. Yeah,
is what it is.
I mean they're
But
getting better, but
yeah,
all right. So let's go. After all these matches, of course, we dive into what is the fantasy league
tell me
that we
yo
have, uh,
fantasy.
which pretty interesting to start. I did make a crazy move, maybe not the craziest because a lot of other people I saw doing it as well. But I put my bench boost on early because I really wasn't sure what this first week was going to be like. I wound up with 54 points to start the week, which wasn't the best. Let's see, in our
Still a
league,
lot more than mine. I got 44, so I had a terrible season.
so
So
in the we're gonna shout out people in our league that are. So we actually got quite a bit of people to join. I didn't even realize it was this heavy.
there are 15
Um,
guys. Or are you talking about the?
no, I'm talking about
Oh yeah,
our
the beautiful game. Yeah, man, we got
41 people that
41
joined.
people.
Shout out to
Yeah,
all those people that joined. A guy from my job actually, that guy at the top, 95 points first week. That is
yeah.
incredible. That is almost double what I got. So kudos to him. It looks like he had the Kuiper, he had Coyote for Brentford,
Hmm.
who did well, obviously, and he captained Jao Pedro. So um,
Yeah,
hell of a point. The max was
Cooper. Yeah,
131, which is wild.
it's crazy how he got 95 with still having Anderson, Riley, and Holland getting him 2 points. The three City guys. So the three guys you'd probably expect to have probably better points got him the least amount of points, which is insane.
Yeah,
But
I have already made my first move to start for next week. I put in Choli's for Arsenal. He looked pretty good. And I who did I don't even remember who I took out, but um I would say it's a decent start. But the only reason why I had a decent start was because I used the bench boost. Because if I didn't, that was gonna be awful for me to start the season. So
yeah, no, yeah, I started low, so we'll start. But yeah, we'll see how it takes off. Um,
looks like looks like Arsenal players are definitely worth picking up. That's why I have Calafiori in the back, especially since he likes to go forward. Is Cole Palmer a guy that we should be considering? It looks like he's a guy that may be better this season than what he was.
yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. You know, has he resurrected? He has produced 200 plus points in the last two, except the season before. He is 2.5 million cheaper than Bruno, and
Which really hurt me because that was my captain this week.
yeah,
So
so exactly. But another, I guess, other guys, that I would say is Arsenal defense. Are they all worth picking up? Because they all look good. Who do you pick up? Who's going to come in? Who's not going to play? I mean, obviously, Gabriel is I think Gabriel and Califieri are definitely the guaranteed point starters and probably play. The other guys are going to be rotating.
yeah, because Ben
Um,
Ben White's always like maybe not.
Kansa coming in, exactly. So that's interesting as far as where Arsenal go with
They're
that
just
one.
expensive, and that's the problem. It's like all these
Hmm.
guys are. Akansa, I think,
Especially
was
as
only like
defenders.
four. Is he like 4.5? I
I
think
don't
he was
know.
on the cheaper side because I had him and then I got
Yeah.
rid of him. So
So yeah, I mean, if you want, like, I guess guys under 7 mil, João Pedro, Brentford's Ayer, who had a good, obviously he scored. He's only 4.5 mil. Sangari's 5.5 mil. Everton's Tarkowski and Dewsbury Hall earned six and a half.
I had Dewsbury Hall last season. It was inconsistent, so I'm surprised that's the one that people are considering. To
Yeah,
be
they're
honest
still
with you,
considering him. So Leeds, Bijol, because they had again 1-0 win,
shout
and
out him.
Statch as well, so 6 mil. So those are all any. But other than any, I don't know if there's any other performances, any other top performances that are missed out. But those are at least under the 7 mil. I think are
I
quality.
I think this
Again,
first week is a little
that's what I'm
fluky,
saying. First
to
game
be
of the week,
honest.
so I don't
Very
know
fluky with the Kuiper getting
season.
all those points. Yeah,
Yeah, first game of the season. So yeah, you don't want to again, like we told our nephew Eric, because he was like, hey, he was ready to throw in his chip and go get a whole brand new team. But I said just give it a week, give it 2 weeks. Go to at least maybe week 4 or 5 before you say, okay, cool. I really need to make a big change before you throw in the chip and change out your whole squad out, or 4 or 5 guys in at one shot, just to see who's consistently giving you performances. Um, because yeah, at least, and even if you don't want to wait that long, wait till at least week 3. Give it one more week this coming weekend, and then make your decision. But
Yeah.
interesting.
No, it was
I made
definitely
one
an
change too. Yeah, that's it.
interesting week in fantasy. So we'll continue to talk about that each episode
Yeah,
as
yeah,
the games come thick and fast here each week. Even international break coming soon too, which is wild.
yeah.
Anyway, on that note,
I
we
wish we
did
had a
mention.
transition where we can just kind of get an eagle right now. Just
Uh, Maybe I can fit that in an edit.
look at it, huh?
Americans abroad. So that's where we're going next. I did mention Gozo and Chris Richards earlier. So obviously, a lot of Americans now after the World Cup seeming to start to fizzle into Europe.
Hmm.
Middlesbrough, as we said, they just picked up another American kid, so there's 4 there now. A little unknown this one, but interesting. Arfston had a bad week in this last game they played. But Xavier Gozo, the big move, $15 million to Crystal Palace, as I mentioned before, playing alongside Chris Richards. Uh, Curious to see how he does. He's
He's
a
gonna
guy
get a
that,
taste of Europa play too, so it's not like he's just going to the Premier League. He's actually gonna also play against top teams in Europe. So yeah, that'll be, hopefully we'll see how many minutes he gets, how they flow, how he fits into the team, and hopefully it's good things for him.
yeah, how effective he can be because he's still
Yeah,
young and,
yeah.
is his body ready for that grind? Because I
Hmm.
think that grind
Hmm.
is
That's a
he's a young
big
kid.
change.
So
I'm sure Chris Richards definitely spoke to him, and he's had a good conversation, good amount
he's
of talking to
confident
him. So
though.
yeah, it's
He
good,
seems like he wants it bad. So
which is good.
I
We need that.
I mentioned Middlesbrough with the extra signing of another
Hmm.
American, of course. So that's Team America. I'm gonna maybe start watching the championship
Yeah,
just to watch them now. But
the United States of Middlesbrough. Yeah.
Berhalter, Arston, and Aiden Morris, who's been there obviously. So that's the
See
watch
if we can
there.
get him pushed up to the Premier League, and then the Americans help out. That'd be great.
Yeah, fuck Wrexham. And then the French league, we had Gio Reyna obviously joining Strasbourg. I think he got 20 minutes in this last recent game, so we'll see if he continues to kind of
If
start
yeah,
making
or
his way into the starting lineup.
if he's just our Mexican, just kind of like how all other Mexicans, they just don't do anything, and the World Cup comes and they play great, and then they go off to Europe and then they don't do shit, and then they still play on the national team.
I thought I
Hopefully
said
not.
Arochoa.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe not all of them.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of Mexican players, but
Mark McKenzie did make his move back to Philadelphia Union, I believe. He
did
left
he?
Toulouse, yeah, which is kind of
Oh,
insane,
oh,
considering he's still one of the better center backs that we have. And
I thought he just joined Toulouse.
no, he's been there. He
Oh,
decided to leave though, and he came back to the U.S. So that was a recent news with Mark McKenzie coming back to the U.S. and MLS. Not sure your thoughts there. It just, to me,
dumb.
it's a bad move when you want to be considered for the national team. So, for family reasons, I get it. If that's why you wanted to come back, maybe it's just time for you to come home. But competition wise, it's not a great move.
Yeah, no.
Tillman started for Leverkusen, who won 4-0. He's got a lot to prove this season because there's a new coach again. With when he went there, he was signed by Ten Hag, who was canned after
Had a
4 weeks, and then he had a
36 minutes. Yeah.
tough week, a tough year before getting to the World Cup. He had a great World Cup, obviously. So hoping he
Like,
kind of takes that momentum into
yeah,
this season, of
which
course.
it looks like he did that game, helped him out, so it looked like he looked pretty solid in that game. So we'll take it.
Other notables also, Weah McKennie, strong starts playing for their teams. McKennie obviously at Juventus, and Weah captaining Marseille, which is, to all of you that don't understand, or I know everyone knows the Man Cities, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids. Marseille is a huge name in world football.
Hmm.
For an American, and not he's not the only one. There's several Americans now that are captaining their teams.
Captaining, yeah, absolutely.
Gianluca Buzio in Venezia, who's been up and down with that team. He's now the captain of that team, and we're hoping he sees a sniff with the national team as well. Weah, who had a subpar World Cup, I was basically throwing him out the door.
Yeah, and you see, and I still said it. No, like that's why I like Weah. I just, maybe it's the way
I
he's
just think he
utilized for the
got
United
caught in a
team.
bad moment.
Yeah, and
That's
the way
fine.
he's utilized on the team. But yeah, he's again, yeah,
And this
that's
was this was the crazy thing about this is the coach's choice. The coach
hmm
chose chose to make him the captain of that team. So a lot for players to look up to him. A guy who's now a veteran, especially in that league. He's kind of bounced around a couple of teams there, but hopefully he kind of turns it around and gets his way back into the national team in the good graces of Pochettino.
Yeah.
Um, and then Des is continuing to play well. He had a subpar World Cup also, but scoring for PSV over the weekend. Pepe as well, getting goals. So those two seem to continue the wave with that team as they're going, hoping for back to back titles since they won last season. So shout outs to them doing their thing and continuing to progress. I know we had a lot of chatter about Pepe not being the guy for us up top. Balogun obviously took the throne there. We're still waiting to see with Balogun also, like, is he moving? Is he not? Because there's a lot of
Yeah,
his
a lot
name
of
is
rumor of
bouncing
where
all
he's
over the
going,
place.
Premier League, other
Tottenham.
places.
I've heard
Yeah,
Barcelona recently.
yeah, I've heard.
Like
Yeah,
a
Spain.
lot
I
of
think even Italy. As well, as long as he gets settled and he does well. I think Monaco is not growing anymore, so I think he needs to move from there. I even heard PSG actually too. So,
I
um,
did. That was early on, but I haven't heard
yeah.
anything else.
So
But
we'll see. Dest actually had a great. I think man of the match for. He pretty much had an assist as well, so he had a solid game for in that one. So Dest is still continuing to show that no reason. I don't understand why Barcelona got rid of him because they still don't have a quality.
he's just because he's not Spanish. Honestly, I think
Oh,
that's the
oh,
reason they got rid of him. Some of the other guys that are there that are not Spanish because they grew up the Cruyff way, so that's why they're there.
yeah.
And I will throw this one first before we go into the big one. George Campbell captaining
Mm-hmm.
West Brom also in the championship and took on Newcastle over the week middle of the week a game. I believe Newcastle took that one. But again, another
Yeah.
American,
Slight.
another American captaining a big team in England. West Brom's not a small team that's bounced up and down between the Premier League and the Championship. So, shout out there. I'll let you go ham
Well,
on this next one.
actually, one little quick note. Looks like Cardoso is back. He didn't play for Atletico, but looks like he's back on the bench. So that's important because I think moving forward, we will. He was a solid player. He had a really great season for Atletico, and I was looking forward to see how he was going to help the midfield for us in the World Cup. Unfortunately, he got injured. Looks like he's back on the bench. So hopefully, he has another great season and good things to come. So just quick shout out to Cardoso.
And
Uh,
what's his name? Antonio Freeman. Freeman did not get any
mm.
minutes or very limited minutes for Villarreal. So
Yeah, we'll
curious
see.
watching that,
Yeah,
see how that
maybe
goes.
World Cup again. Give him a little rest, but we'll see. But yeah, with this next one was huge. I guess any Scottish fans that we have and everything. I'm sorry, but it was a great game. Celtic versus freaking Lask was a hell of a game. Um, I saw the score, but I was like, so I didn't watch the game, and then I decided to
So
watch the
let's
highlights,
let's
and
set the
oh my
stage.
God,
Let's set the
uh,
stage because Celtic going into this one. This is a
3-0.
play. This is a play-in for the Champions League spot, right? Celtic, like Will just said, was up 3-0 on the aggregate score, so should have been cruise control,
Hmm.
for this match.
They
And
have the
then,
experience. They have been in the Champions League before. They have bigger team, bigger history.
but they have the
Globally,
center back who was the player of the season for them,
I
in
mean, yeah,
Cameron Carter Vickers.
we had
So
two center backs now, trusty American center backs, Trusty and Cameron Carter Vickers playing for them. So it was definitely all in the works. And then the game was an amazing game. It started off back and forth. It was Lask actually no, Celtic had quite a few opportunities. It was like I thought it was like from the looks of it, obviously I knew the score, but from the looks of it, it just looks like they were going to score more and blow out Lask. And they wound up scoring first, so it was 4-0. So at this point, I was just like, wow, like how? And slowly enough, who else but American Samuel Adrian. I don't know his name too well.
Adeniran, I think.
Adeniran, sorry, yeah, but because we haven't really heard him too much. But now I
He's
definitely
bounced
want to,
around everywhere.
yeah,
For those of you that are, if you're young and you have a dream, that guy figured it out. And maybe watch his story. Go look him up.
yeah,
Dude's been everywhere and did this
started and he balled out. He scored a screamer. It was like a 25-yard strike, and so that's
outside
where
the
he
box. Yeah.
Yeah, so top bin. So it was definitely that was
On his
just
weak foot also.
just to start. But that game pretty much he scored again with his weak foot after. So he scored 2 goals in that game, which all right, cool 4-2. But no, obviously that game just kept going, and last registered 40 shots, which is insane.
It's as
And
insane as shooting 40 free throws in a basketball game. Like that is
yeah, pretty
that is
much just
nuts.
40
Even in a
shots. Yeah.
basketball game, 40 free throws is wild. Or 43 pointers. Let's go with that.
So then they turned it around. They had a crazy game and they wound up winning the game 5-1, which overall on globally in the marker between both games they wound up going 5-4, knocking out Celtic, which is it was just definitely it was a shocker to Celtic not getting in because
Celtic
naturally.
being the giant for Scotland.
And then it's the first time for Laska ever getting into the Champions League, so it was huge. George Bello, who was also another American on that team on last, he played all 120 minutes, and he was very crucial because he shut
Interesting, because
down Celtic.
that dude disappeared for a while.
Yeah,
We kind of he was in the
I remember
national
I'd
team
heard about him.
pool.
Yeah, and then
He
just
played
yeah,
for the U.S. a few times, and then he just kind of went dark. Um, Interesting,
yeah.
that those two guys. It's great. It's great for us as Americans, obviously, watching the European game to see teams not only playing in Champions League, a lot less playing in Champions League this year because Juventus, Milan are all in the in Europa League this year. But even then, like these guys making their way now into the Champions League for this season, huge, huge opportunity and stage for
Yeah.
them to really make a name for themselves. Uh, no
Just
one's
give
gonna no one's gonna give them a
more.
chance, but those guys are gonna be there, man, which is great.
And I would say a little more of a maybe just to kind of motivate American kids if they start watching European and they want to see American guys. There's a lot of American European play, guys sprinkled here and there. So definitely it was a great game. I guess on the other hand, for our American center backs, they had a good. I mean, they cleared a ton of. They had a ton of clearances. I want to say it was like 22. I forgot how many clearances each, but it seems like Carter Vickers just couldn't.
He
He just had a lot of.
continues
He had a lot of cramps,
he
so he couldn't.
continues his like just inability to stay healthy. Like that
Well,
dude,
he played 90 minutes. It's just he cramped up, and they had to sub him out. So when
I mean,
he started
chasing that
cramping
many
out 90
ghosts.
minutes, yeah, exactly. So then when the I guess the coach just he panicked too much, and he made a lot of crazy changes, and that just gave Lask more confidence. And then obviously Trusty couldn't. Having he's already new coming in, and then having to adjust to everything, they just couldn't handle it, and it just obviously the score line, although it was obviously 5-1, they still had, it's hard to say they had a solid game, but as far as on paper, their clearances and pretty much how they defensively approached the game, that they just got attacked.
It's like they couldn't
um
figure out how to
yeah,
organize those
but
players in front of them.
yeah, so it's definitely sucks for them. Champions League, I believe now they'll have a chance to play in the Europa.
Yeah, for
um
those of you guys that have Paramount Plus, just go watch that game. Like
Yeah, yeah. If you
if you
can,
want to
if not,
watch the game,
YouTube it.
go
If you
watch
want to
that
watch
game.
it fully, if you want to watch the highlights on YouTube, absolutely, just check it out. It was an awesome game. But yeah, that was definitely a super exciting um, game that to start the season. You're starting after the World Cup, so that's cool. Check it out.
We don't have this in our notes, but I want to close the episode out on this question, and we can take this into another
Actually,
episode.
well, I got a surprise after too, so
All right.
yeah.
Um, there's a big thing happening in a group chat at my job where it's one guy, really, a couple guys. We keep having this conversation about La Liga. He says the Liga is the better league than the Premier League, and it's a question that I ask you. I'll ask people that are listening or people that want to kind of chime in, whether you do it on any of our socials or you want to just, in our YouTube just video, just let us know what you think. Which league is the better league? Is it the Premier League or is it La Liga?
That's you know it's tough from a footballing aspect. It is a prettier game. I would go La Liga as a prettier game because the Premier League is a lot more, you know, in the air, run and gun, counter play. It all
Very
depends on.
basketball like, yes.
Yeah,
Very
so
hockey like,
it's
yes.
so if you're a football fan, it's not so much the game you ever want to play. I don't like playing like that. I like playing possession, build up, and control the game, right? But that's not exciting. But from footballing aspect, I would have to go La Liga. But when you look at everything else, marketing, excitement, week to week, the capacity of the fan bases, because again, you watch a La Liga, which Girona versus Celta Vigo. I don't even know if they're still in the La Liga, if they didn't get demoted or not. But you watch that, and there's maybe 30 people in the stadium because I'm
Well,
exaggerating.
no,
I'm
no, there's
exaggerating. I'm exaggerating, but they don't fill up the way the Premier League is
they
always
do.
sold out. No,
That,
they don't. You can watch games on
except
any
City.
given. Well, yeah, but they don't count. It's like Kim Jong Un and putting plastic things, when people go by. But anyways,
Let me throw this additional question into this because that's where I
and
go. That's where I
well,
go with. I understand your point about
and
entertainment
also,
versus the
I mean,
beauty of the game.
also you got to think about it because when they do face each other in European tournaments, I mean, last season, England dominated. England pretty much, I believe, they knocked out every single Spanish team, and there's a lot
Well,
of
they won
English
the
teams.
Conference League and the Europa League,
Yeah, and they almost won the Champions League, and they made it further. Still had Arsenal make it to the final
but
versus
it's
no
the first
Spanish team.
time in a long time. Yeah.
Well, exactly. So either is it the tide's turning where we can start saying it, or we'll see what happens this season. So as of obviously last season, we can say the English teams were better, but overall the Spanish leagues won anytime. Even when United had to play, who was it that they always get destroyed? Villarreal? No, Valencia. Valencia hasn't won a league. I don't even know if they ever even won a
They,
league or
they,
last
they
time they won a
got they
league.
got demoted. Yeah.
Exactly. And United every time they faced them they got destroyed. They couldn't handle them. So it's kind of goes and shows like, well, your big bad league is getting beat out by a mid-table team or a team that's now demoted, right? So it's hard because yeah, when they play each other,
Well,
um,
here's my follow up to that because I hear everything you're saying and I acknowledge I'm not saying it's incorrect. The thing that I always think to though is when you think about every week in those leagues, the Premier League is a battle every week, and those teams are constantly fighting each other to get a result. In La Liga, you have three, four teams that really are challenging for Champions League, and then everyone else is just like, all right, we know we're gonna lose. We'll play them, but we know we're gonna lose, so we're just gonna battle it out to play Europe, and then they save themselves for that because they know that that's where they need to be, because that's where they potentially can make a run to win a trophy. So does that make is that why those
so
teams can be? It's really bad. I saw the
no,
stats.
I get what you're saying. No, but so you told me no, right? So here's just kind of not to ignore your question, but Rayo Vallecano played Deportivo Alaves. Their stadium holds 15,500 people. Attendance 4,280. So you can't tell me. So you know what I mean. So again, and let me pull up a Premier League team. Um,
Yeah, Fulham is only
and
like 18,
but even
20,000, and they
then, but it
they fill
doesn't.
out
But
every
yeah,
game. Yeah.
so let's go Premier League. Let's go. Let's see what game was a lower league game that.
Ipswich do
Yeah, let me
Ipswich
put Ipswich
versus
Sunderland exactly. Ipswich and Sunderland. So let's see. Capacity was 30,056, 29,669. So they were 99% capacity. So that's what I mean when people try to tell me, that's why you thought it wasn't, but you see how bad that is.
yeah.
That if it's not even Real Madrid played Espanyol, capacity 40,423. They were only 82% capacity. 33,000 people showed up to the game. So they still didn't, they still had 7,000 seats open. Well, let's look at Plastic City. It's just because obviously they're fake fans, but let's see how many they had just to,
It just
I
depends
mean,
if there was a carnival in town that
yeah.
they
But
wanted
let's
to
see.
attend the
Well,
game.
again, they didn't play, they played at Bournemouth. So obviously, did they play at City? I don't know where they played. Where
No,
was
I
this
think they
game
played
at?
in Bournemouth.
They played in Manchester.
Oh,
So in
did they?
Manchester, yep. 61,470 capacity. Attendance 60,645. They were 99% capacity. So even a fake team that still doesn't have real fans, they're 99% capacity. So again, Real Madrid, Barca and Real are the biggest, and the Barca was still at 80-something% capacity. So if it's exciting, if it's that great of a game, how are they not filling up capacity? If Spain, that's all they live for, right? Well, they have other sports, but obviously football is the sport just like it is in England. So you can't tell me exactly that. If it's that exciting, why
I
does
mean,
nobody go watch those small
it just
teams? So
sounds like the question's still open for debate. It's always going to be a hot topic.
footballing aspect, like I said, footballing aspect, it depends on the game you like to play. I don't think a lot of people like to play that over the top, basketball esque footballing, um, versus a prettier style of play, more controlled, more possession and build up. So from football aspect, if I'm going to play in a team, I would like to play in a team like that from a Spanish type of team that plays, builds up and plays comfortably versus a counterattack team. I hate counterattacks. It just reminds me of Central American. Kick the ball up top and hope you get it. And then, you know what I mean? Like, obviously way more organized. Not that bad, but you get what I'm going to. So yes, when it comes to that, but excitement, like you said, smaller teams any given week will give it to a big team and they don't fear them. It seems like they actually play up to the level versus get scared. Oh my God, Real Madrid's coming in town. Let me get scared. Barcelona's coming in. Let me lose 7-0 because I'm scared. You know what I mean?
I mean,
So
and just in the opening weekend, Hull beating United, Ipswich beating
exactly.
Sunderland. Like, you saw games where
Teams
you're just
that
like these
just
kind
came
of
up
just
from the
came up.
second
Yeah.
division. Yeah. So exactly. So it's I would say it's up for debate. Better footballing style. I would say Spain, the type of play. But like we said last season, obviously the prem teams were the ones that showed up all the way in all the tournaments. So we will see what happens this season. And if that's the second, if that happens, then now we got two.
But there's a lot of mix of teams in Europa this year because
Yeah,
obviously, like I said, Juventus, Milan, like teams that normally in the Champions League are going to be fighting it out now in that league because they
oh
need
yeah,
to win to play Champions
yeah,
League next season.
yeah.
So that should be
So
interesting.
yeah, so that's it. It again, it depends on how you want to see it. But obviously, like I said, nobody wants to see uh those teams that and yeah, not even people in Spain wanted to see the 4,000 people show up to the game. Like seriously, come
Which
on.
is wild to me because if I was close to a stadium like that, I'm there
You know what
every
I'm
week,
saying?
no
Yeah.
matter what,
So,
man. That's crazy.
but with that, one
I have to
last
drive an hour and a half to go to watch FC Dallas,
FC
which is
Dallas, exactly.
terrible.
I have to drive 20 minutes to go watch Orlando, and I still haven't. I watched one game, and yeah. And they were playing Miami, so and Messi didn't even show up, but it was still exciting. I don't know. My last surprise, I came in my autographed
Ooh, look at that
Ronaldinho
hot fire right there.
Beckett authenticated, so it has, yeah.
For all of
And
you that want to claim that whatever players exist now are the best players,
and it's
that man
beautiful
right there.
because this is when they
Oh,
beat
Arsenal.
even better. And I didn't even know, honestly, I didn't even look at that one. I just saw Champions League and I didn't realize until I opened it right now. I was like, that's even better. I love the fact that it's Arsenal on there. So that way, and obviously Barca beat Arsenal that year. So it's beautiful that I have it. I'm going to get a frame, probably put it back. Well, actually, the wife actually wants it downstairs and on the frame. So she wants to display it around the
She
house.
don't want a Ronaldo jersey in there somewhere because
Oh, I'm
that's
sure. Yeah, she does. But I mean, to be fair, I looked at it, and you can't get one for like under 1 grand, so it's gonna be tough. But I'd get the United. I'd get the United one, but I should still be okay with it because it's Ronaldo. But
yeah, no, makes
you know,
sense. All
but
right,
yeah. So
that's
that's
fantastic. I
that's
am
her.
down for that all day, every day. And I think on that note, we maybe leave with something that will hopefully get us going for the rest of the season. Let me put this up here. Let's see how that sounds. Oh, I'm just gonna get. Oh, I'm trying to get the right one.
Glory, Man United. Glory, Man United.
I wouldn't even play that right now. Not after this week. Maybe after next week.
It'll come. I believe in Carrick.
We will stay hopeful.
All right. On that note, everyone who's listened, thank you for listening. Please continue to subscribe, watch, share, like all the socials, TikTok, Instagram. We got YouTube. You can subscribe there for free. It doesn't hurt. Just like it. You don't
Just
have to do
like it,
anything.
yeah. Get us some
Share.
sponsors. I want some like free, like protein donuts or something. You know what I mean? If they'll give us, free packs, whatever, man, I'll take whatever.
I'm back in the game. Also trying to get my prime rib Pirlo going. I did post a short after the game today, so I had a pretty. I could have had an assist today. The guy couldn't score the goal, but
Man, yeah,
um,
my league, we lost the slot to get into third play to the finals, and then we got fourth place. But I wound up switching into the field in the last game, and I wound up scoring with my weak foot. So I didn't record it. I should have recorded, but
I had a terrible shot, but I had almost an assist, so I was a little happy. We tied 6-6 again at the end. Our team just couldn't defend. We were up 6-5 with seconds left, and we gave one up again. So that's 2 ties in a row after we lost the first game of the season. So we should have 6 points, but then instead we have 2. So on that note, thank you again, everyone. Keep following. We'll be back next week. A lot of games coming, big and fast. Be ready.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Be ready with that
yes.
fantasy. Don't forget to change your lineup before tomorrow, because there is a game. So keep up the good work,
Good luck.
guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
All righty.
Powered by Riverside.